Today I'm with Dr. Juliana Espana Keller, and I'm really happy to see you today, Juliana. It's just fantastic to have you talk with us today. I'm going to let you say something about yourself, because you're the best person to say about all the things that you do and all your amazing practices. So yes, please say something about yourself.
Thank you so much, Linda. It's lovely to be talking to you live in Australia again. I'm quite nostalgic when I think about Melbourne. So just to introduce myself to everyone, I'm actually a Canadian, Swiss, British, and also Spanish sound performance and electronic artist. And I am also now a local farmer and sourdough baker, living and working remotely on a small parcel of land in rural Alhaurín, El Grande in Malaga, Spain. And as an artist and an educator, a curator, and a feminist materialist, I think in a very post-human way, because I'm always questioning the systems and structures that we are a part of. We are all technologically mediated, so I'm always thinking about how we are using our bodies in becoming with and listening with, instead of listening to as local evidence. And our bodies are like transducers to me, as tools, stimulating our imagination to what we are listening to. And there is an agency in that, and we cannot avoid it. I cannot block out, or we cannot block out, what are bombarded with in our interactivity in terms of environmental data and the socio-political relations that we live in. So for me, materialities are never neutral and powerful forces, which our dear friend, feminist thinker Karen Barad suggests. So I use labor in the space of the kitchen as a platform to test relations with the tools that we use to cook, or what we call doing cooking, and the potential of working with others from private to public space. And I create and I choreograph mostly sonic and performative multi-trans interdisciplinary works to a listening public. And my multicultural nomadic background has been so formative to my hybrid practice. So I've got so much to talk about, and I'll just try my best to keep this as short as possible. But I'd like to say that my public kitchen works have been exhibited in site-specific spaces globally, and I completed my practice-led doctoral research at the VCA in Melbourne in 2020, and I'm currently teaching remotely in the Studio Arts program at Concordia University in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, where I lived for 25 years before moving to Melbourne. And obviously I'm now back full circle in Europe again, and I'm tracing my Spanish roots, and I'm living and working with my Swiss husband on this rural piece of land that I call home.
Fantastic. And what an amazing bio. So
Thank you.
So good. And very just a really kind of continental and transdisciplinary amazing profile, I think, which is so great. So and I know you've got lots and lots of really interesting ideas around the kind of themes of the MFI. So this kind of leads us into the question I'd like to ask you that will lead the conversation, which is, how your work thinks about these speculative futures and perhaps some aspects of that bigger idea of the unknown future or the possible future that you've been thinking about in your work.
Thank you, Linda. So I'm going to actually share my screen so that you get an opportunity now for me to show a little bit of where I'm going with my work. I'll just go to my first slide here as to show you that this is my home in Malaga, Spain. which is called Casa Mia in Spanish, and is also named after my first granddaughter, Mia. And it also has another name, by the way. It's called BAJO el Olivo, which means under the olive tree. And it is also an international creative artist residency that emerged during the pandemic lockdown and unfolded with the migration or relocation of a creative practitioner and my husband from bustling urban Melbourne, Australia, to a rural location in Spain. So this residency is a platform that emphasizes a more embodied connection with our post-human future. And it's a concept that recognizes ethnographically that within the grave ecological crisis and the pandemic condition, we, the human species, are endangering our coexistence with other species, and how diverse organisms are entangled in the political, economic and cultural systems we have initiated. And this is my concern in terms of the future and mapping future imaginaries. So the residency is also designed to foster the theoretical and creative ways that a radical entanglement is interconnected with a situated perspective. And that is one for me that flourishes as an artistic site for artistic events and research and building resilience in ecological continuity and community building and storytelling. And most importantly, bringing other forms of life into light to suggest that we have become post-human since our mode of being is so dependent on complex entanglements with like animals and ecosystems and technology. And I would like to think that the guests who visit BAJO el Olivo are mapping the terrain with other multi-species, human and non-human, in nature, and they also are collaborators. And so this kind of method of thinking suggests that reworking or working with others in field work can produce unexpected ruptures in dominant thinking about nature and culture. And besides being non-human creatures, they can be regarded as parts of society that kind of move past questions of representation and abide with us in a kind of multi-species kind of world. And so here are some of the very important protagonists in this project. The noble Spanish tomato fruit, which is grown here on the land where I live and where I thrive. And home has become a refuge in a post-pandemic time. And I really think that this speaks to the future of human life. So this parcel of land is a model of sustainability, I hope, and an exploration of non-exploitative methods of production as a means to connect and to exchange and to consider, traditional know-how, sense and insights as a way of understanding ecologically embedded perspectives on embodiment. And this is a picture of me, of course, here with my handy blender that makes all sorts of noise or feminist noise as I embark on many new projects. So BAJO el Olivo promotes deep listening with the earth, and I would like to think that I am working with an ecology of care and hope and making kin. And the residency becomes then an expanding network of users, collaborators, and partners who come together to work on the land and share resources and local knowledge around a community economy. And for me, to keep it local is an eco-philosophy that connects the invisible majority, where labor is a profound connection to the land. And I would like to think, how can we generate a renewed approach to creation and sustainability and creative methods of artistic practice as a site of imaginative space making and radical change? This is really important for me, and those emergent relational forces in rural places where play and thinking and doing and working are possible. Here are two resident experimental artists from Celu Heridas from Blanca Murcia and Takuto Yakanawa, who are collaborating with me on a project entitled The Patch. And this is another local Spanish performance artist, Chris Savage, who is also performing in this project that I will introduce again. A little vignette for you to see. And the sound and performance artist Ursula Bravo from Murcia, Spain, performing here in a choreographed sound performance work in the local food produce market. So these are vignettes that I'm showing you that are part of this new project that I'm working with. But I also would like finally to introduce Maria del Mar Suarez, a contemporary flamenco dancer from Malaga. And this is a short clip that I also choreographed with her here at Casa Mia. So this, I'd like to show you the rest of it, but take too long. But I'm going to continue now to actually what this latest artistic and collaborative work entails. So I'm working towards a public kitchen sound performance in the new year on the grounds of the University of Malaga. But this collaborative project means a lot to me. It originates in the heart of Montreal, on a patch of land in the Laurentian Mountains of Quebec in Canada. And this socially engaged project is led by a fellow artist and Concordia colleague, Bonnie Baxter, and also includes Dr. Jen Ray, who is a NARM Melbourne-based artist researcher, facilitator and educator of also of Canadian Red River Métis Scottish descent from Treaty 6 territory. And the title, The Patch, brings together in partnership of three working artists, including myself, in three different settings in the world, alongside other amazing Quebec local artists who have created site-specific performances and interventions in this project. For me, this nomadic cartography is a more than human journey into my own situated perspective living here in Spain. And it intersects with my research into future imaginaries as a transnational and transcultural project, building a symbiotic relationship of food, matter, such as the tomato fruit, with humans who depend on it for nutrition and growth and economic need. And sound is also evidential as a medium that resonates in an age of crisis where listening is participatory and materials are never neutral. This nomadic storytelling on a small parcel of land also overlays, again, with local food histories, connecting to the vibrant matter of the earth, compost, kinship, and obviously staying with the trouble that is in the middle of a climate crisis and a pandemic, where obviously home is a refuge. And so here I am in Montreal. This was 2015 where all of this started, and then I went on to live in Melbourne and choreograph an amazing sound performance collective entitled Sonic Electric from 2015 until 2019. Before that, I was a member of the performance art collective WACA in Montreal, which was called Women with Kitchen Appliances. And
this is an excerpt from chapter 5 of my thesis dissertation, The Human Non-Human Embodied in Digital Sound Performance. I could love.
So my research is translated into a methodological guideline that encourages increasing attention to all the differences and unpredictabilities that may be noticed in the musical event where actors and relations are being examined. And here I'm going to play you an excerpt from 2 sound performances in Melbourne that give you the listening experience of a public kitchen. So that, Linda, took place, that was one of the last presentations at Mars Gallery in Prahran on the rooftop, which was so exciting. And the last piece. Okay, so let me come back to you.
While you do that, I'll just say it's so fantastic. I mean, what an amazing place to have for your residency as well, and just love all the kind of the different kind of perspectives and aspects of living and life that you get to think about, you know, in terms of ecologies, you know, community, but also nationhood, and you know, being an artist and what that means at this point in our world, you know, and how one practices across those different kind of material scapes, you know. It's just, and then of course with your amazing sonic work, you've got, it's just such interesting, it's so rich, you know, and it's been like, I didn't think that you'd be able to cram it all in, but it's just, you know, you've done a really great job in showing us you know, kind of just a taster of what you do. And of course, when people are watching this, underneath there will be links to your projects in more full versions, so people can follow up on your work in other spaces as well. But I just want to say thank you so much, and it's been an absolute pleasure, and it's just been, yeah, a really wonderful conversation, so thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Linda. I appreciate your support and time, and this has been a wonderful opportunity for me, actually, to be in touch with Melbourne again and all of the people that I hold dearly to me. I'd like to just give a shout out to Sonic Electric in Melbourne, and to all my colleagues and mentors over there. Thanks so much.
No worries.